Hi, I'm Josh Lane with the 8 Shields Institute in Santa Cruz, California. And today we wanted to share a little bit about poison oak because this is a natural hazard that's found in many areas on the West Coast, and on the East Coast you've got poison ivy, a close relative. So we're going to look today at some of the ways you can identify poison oak so that you don't have to be scared of it when you go outside, but that you can know how to identify it and see where it is. So the first thing we're going to look at is the way the branches grow. And some trees and shrubs have branches that grow opposite, where the leaves grow out like arms opposite each other off of the main stem. Now poison oak alternates, so if you imagine a branch coming out where this arm is and then another one lower down, maybe another one higher up, so they're not opposite each other, but they're alternating as they grow. So that's an important characteristic. And we're going to look right here. Here's one without leaves on the top of this stem right here, and you can see that alternating pattern, the way that they grow, just like that. And this has a very pinkish plain stem, and if you were to look in really close at the buds, they actually look like little mittens with little bits of fuzz on them. So that's another good thing to look for. And sometimes you can see a striping pattern on the bark too. But then just a little bit further over here, you can see how they're growing in these clumps of 3 leaflets. And this is actually one leaf that's divided into 3 parts. And when you look really close in there, you'll see the central leaflet has a bit of a longer stem than the 2 side leaflets. And then on the leaves themselves, they have what we call teeth on the outer margins of the leaves, kind of little bumpy areas. So those are some good clues to look for, leaves of 3, because there's a lot of other plants that have leaves of 3. You have raspberries that have those 3 leaflets, but raspberries have thorns on them. So that's a good way to tell them apart from poison oak or poison ivy. So looking from the details of the plant, now we'll look at the bigger pattern, and you can see here there's a whole wall of poison oak on this landscape. And in California, it's very typical. Poison oak grows into these big clumpy thickets, and it turns red in the autumn. You'll see the leaves start to dry out and they turn into this red color. And in a lot of places, that red signals to migrating songbirds that there's fruits available on the plants. So as the songbirds are flying from way overhead, they look down and they see these big thickets of red, and they'll know that there can be some fruit down there as they fly along. So that's a cool fact. Imagine you're that bird flying and you'd see these red hillsides and know you could find food while you're migrating. So you don't have to be scared of poison oak, but know that it does have oil on it and that you may not be allergic to it, but if you touch that oil, then you can transfer that to somebody else. So they may be sensitive to it. And the way you deal with that is you want to wash with cold water and a really soapy detergent like dish liquid, and wash a few times to get that off. You don't want to use warm water because that'll open your pores up and get the oil into your pores. So obviously don't do that. Use cold water and wash a few times. So that's just a few tips about poison oak, and keep an eye out on the landscape the next time you're out there.